In this video, I'm going to show you how to make a fairly simple, high in protein, nutritious, delicious chickpea flour savory pancake. So the ingredients that I'm going to use are chickpea flour, which I have already got in this bowl and it's been sifted, some chopped coriander, chopped tomatoes, a slice of bread, which we will add right at the end of the recipe, and a whole bunch of spices, which I'll add and I'll talk about as I go along. But basically we've got cumin seeds, paprika powder, chili powder, asafoetida or hing, turmeric powder, cumin powder, and a little bit of coriander powder, salt, and pepper for seasoning as well. So let's get started. This pancake is very straightforward. Essentially, all I'm going to do is into the chickpea mix, chickpea flour, I'm going to add all of the ingredients that I need to add, mix them all up and get it into a batter. So I'll do that. I'll be back with you in a second. So we add all the spices in, a little bit of turmeric powder, cumin seeds, paprika powder, measured with absolute precision as always, a little bit of chili powder, not too much, it is early in the morning, a little bit of asafoetida, we've got cumin powder. I'm sort of roughly adding with the cumin powder and the coriander powder about half a teaspoon. And finally, we're just going to add our salt and pepper. And at this point, we add in, mix this all up first before you add any water in. Grab yourself a fork or a whisk, add in the water and get it to a consistency where you want it similar to a consistency that you might get for a crepe, where you want it to get onto the pan, and when it hits the pan you want it to be able to swirl around and actually go to all ends of the pan. So you're going to add water very carefully because we're also going to add some tomatoes in here as well. So you can have a look at that sort of consistency. I probably want this to be just a touch more watery, and I'm going to add that in just to get to that final bit of consistency, which is what we're looking for. Whisk that through and make sure there's no bits of chickpea flour that are stuck or in clumps. Add in your tomatoes. This is about half a tomato. This is basically for one large pancake for one person. I'm going to add in the coriander leaves. And I'm just going to mix that through. If you want at this stage, do a little bit of a taste test and just check salt. I think it needs a little bit more, just a touch more. And we're done. Next stage is to get ourselves, so there's the batter, that's what it looks like. We're going to take this over to the stove and get it onto the pan. Okay, now over at the pan, it's nice and hot now, so I'm going to add a big blob of butter or margarine, whatever it is that you want to add to this. In this case, I am actually using margarine as opposed to butter. Get that in there, you can hear that sizzling away. And it's time to get the batter straight in. So as I said, I've only made enough for one person here. It is a large serve. And I'm going to get that whole lot of batter right onto that hot pan. And then just swirl that around. And get it into something that looks like a half decent shape. I'm going to let this cook. At this stage, if you want to, you can add a little bit more butter, margarine, whatever you're using, just to the edges of the pan, because what this will do is it'll allow you to get this pancake to lift off a lot more easily and it will also help the edges to cook quite a bit. So it's probably not a bad thing to add that bit in as well. So it's starting to cook nicely now. What I'm going to do is just lift these edges just a little bit and see if I can't just flip this over to cook the other side as well. There we go. Now this has been cooking for quite a few minutes, and I flip it back, add my bit of bread, which I've slightly toasted here. Now that step is somewhat optional. You don't have to toast the bread. I'm going to let this kind of do its thing for another couple of minutes, and then I'm going to fold it all up and serve it up. Final step is just to fold it over. Like so. It will break up a little bit, but that's not our problem. Tuck it in as best as you can and just serve it up like that on a plate. Serve this up with a bit of sweet chili sauce or chili sauce, whatever tickles your fancy, and voila!